The only reason I know about it is because Camryn has been making the most vile pictures that anyone has ever seen. May God have mercy on her soul. Yeah. Honestly, everything she has shown me so far has been the most horrific usage of this camera system.
These pictures now. Okay.
I hope nobody sees them.
Yeah, you will.
I was going to say, are you going to send me one that I can
There's going to be an untitled group chat.
Okay.
And you're all just going to get pictures that you wish you hadn't.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Quentin here. I'm fine, babe.
This is Ethan. I'm gonna go. Don't worry, Devin's here. This is time. Let's rock and roll!
It's me. I'm back for the third week in a row, Penguin Mario, and I'm here to introduce the Power Up Brothers podcast, the only podcast called the Power Up Brothers podcast. That's probably not true, actually. There's probably a dozen of them on there, but the point is, welcome to the Power Up Brothers podcast.
Good job, Quentin.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back, producer
Camryn.
Camryn.
Oh my God, it's producer Camryn. She's not scowling this time.
She just got back from a hike.
Oh, she's scowling.
She did.
Never mind.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind, she's scowling.
The many faces of Camryn.
Yes.
Camryn always reminds me of your Animal Crossing character when you're just changing outfits, because you can just make them do different. Every time we say, Camryn, do this face, she's such a good sport. She just does it.
Shocked.
I was getting ready to say that.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to say like that she is a poodle, but then I remember that's not who you play as an Animal Crossing.
No. She does remind me of a Shih Tzu, though.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
The little Isabel dog.
Upsetting.
So,
she picked that once as a character she wanted to be repped by, and now you're just stuck.
It's over.
You're just stuck.
Yeah.
You have no personality.
Are you telling me that a little secretary dog doesn't describe Camryn?
It does, actually. Yeah, it does.
There you go.
Good. It does actually describe her. Yeah. Quentin, how was your 2-week vacation from the podcast?
Wonderful. Best 2 weeks of my life. All right. I didn't have to.
Ironically, it was also the best 2 weeks of
ours. I mean, it really worked out for the best for everyone, but don't think that it was going to last.
I never
because
know.
I'm back to torture you all.
He's back.
Good.
There'll be more questions. I'm gonna even out that bag. I'm gonna submit so many topics that the statistical likelihood of getting mine is near 99%.
That's how Devin does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we need to all talk about just how privileged of all four of us are that we all four have Nintendo Switch 2s.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, we're now the 1%.
Right.
We're the
Now the
1%. I mean, we don't have them yet.
we have pre-orders.
We have pre-orders.
We have pre-orders for Nintendo Switches and Mario Kart.
Yeah.
We're gonna play Mario Kart.
Did we
together.
all get the Mario Kart bundle? I think so.
I did.
You freaking know I did.
Don't ask me, baby.
This
doll.
guy-
You know I
don't
didn't because I was
anything.
busy
It's a couch
getting
divide.
him.
Yeah, me
It's a
and this
couch
guy
divide.
were in the trenches
Yeah.
until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, that's correct. And I got up at 7
I
and went to
barely
work.
snagged one from Best Buy, and you and me waited the exact same time.
Same time.
We live in similar areas, and yet we were pre-ordering from the same Best Buy,
Yes.
and yet they booted you out.
I was on his computer,
yeah,
and as soon as I purchased it on his, it kicked me from the line. I suspect it's because
IP.
we live together and we had the same IP address.
Right.
I suspect that had something to do with it. But I got back in on the bundle was sold out, but I got back in on the regular Nintendo Switch and bought that. And then it turns out our mom, who I don't know if you guys know this, but is old because I'm old.
Yeah.
Got 3 of them.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
And she got the bundle, so that means I did get the bundle.
3 of them in 45 minutes.
That means that I did get the bundle because she loves me best.
Yeah, she'll just give him the
there you
bundle.
go.
So we're gonna cancel the ones we don't have because we're not scalpers.
No, we're not
y'all.
scalpers.
Don't be a
We
scalper.
refuse.
Yeah.
If you buy more than one Nintendo Switch 2 for yourself, give them away to charity like we're going to.
Yeah.
Right, guys?
Yeah.
I'm pocketing these. I'm pocketing all of these
Quentin,
and selling them above MSRP. Okay.
The morality is a scale on
It's
the
a
Power
slide.
Loves
Yeah.
podcast.
And that it's
most
consistent.
moral.
Yeah.
And that it's consistent and has an extreme drop off.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well,
Yeah.
my experience with trying to get the pre-order was that I woke up sleeping inverted on my bed to find a text message in the mid-afternoon
Right, the next day.
the next day that said,
Hey, loser.
Hey, guess what? We all got Nintendo Switches. And I was like, what? We did?
Yeah.
Why? I thought we weren't doing that. And then we did.
Yeah.
We did.
I had no idea we were getting
We texted
them.
Quentin that because the human brain is not properly connected to the human heart, we love you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we got you a Switch.
So I don't know
Correct.
why.
Yeah, I don't know why.
But
You
now
hate
we-
video games. But yeah,
now
we'll be
we
able
all
to
have 'em.
we can play Mario Kart World together. How excited are you? Hooray!
Great. I'm going to put 500 hours into Mario Kart again.
Here's what I'm hoping. See, here's the thing. You have a Nintendo Switch too
Coming
at launch.
soon. Yeah.
Most creative name ever.
Yeah.
And
correct.
it has some kind of social connection thing, right?
Okay.
I'm hoping that it winds up being as unhinged as Miiverse and you thrive on it.
I hope.
Yeah.
Right?
Let me-
I hope you just
Yeah.
absolutely thrive on this
Yeah.
completely
I-
bat doo-doo
Has
crazy.
You know-
people told Nintendo that people can put their genitals in front of cameras? Did they know that?
They're going to find out after I get the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
I hope they know
Here's what I'm
going
gonna
into
say. I
this.
know we don't have time to get into it now, but
Right.
We have all the
Miiverse
time.
was
Amazing.
the single best thing.
Deep
And
dive.
someday my
Came from the
topic,
8th
my
generation.
Deep dive.
deep dive on Miiverse.
Oh,
Do deep
true.
dive. Because here's the thing. I don't have a lot of good things to say about Gen 8. But Miiverse was brilliant, and especially the last few months of Miiverse when they fired all their moderators.
Right.
Because
That was
Miiverse
kind of
became...
Splatoon was nuts
Because you saw Miiverse
because they
graffiti.
posted
Yeah.
graffiti and stuff.
Yeah,
I put a
Miiverse, yeah.
Miiverse topic in there. Someday it'll get pulled. And
Well,
we'll
once
all
I
see it.
flood the
Allegedly.
bag with 25 new topics about Miiverse,
Yeah,
all
there'll
of
be
them
no
are
chance.
Yeah. This is a good
not-
time to ask everybody. And Quentin, you'll be happy about this.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I'll just ask you directly.
Right.
What you been playing?
The news!
Yeah.
It's the news, everybody.
There's no news.
Remember the news? Wait,
we don't do the news.
Yeah,
wait, hold on. What? We don't do the news
we don't do the
anymore?
news anymore.
What do you
There's
mean?
nothing new happening.
Yes,
There's
because
nothing
there
new
is no
happening.
news.
There's no news?
There's no
news.
news in the world.
So while you were gone, Quinn, we actually invented a new system
Yeah.
for the news. We lock the door on Devin's office and
Oh
we
my God.
raise the heat
Yeah.
until he makes a
my
short
God.
of him staring into the camera,
Hey,
explaining
Oh my
what just
God.
happened.
That's
what
so
were
scary.
what
Real
were
sad.
our predict the newses for last week? Did they come true?
That's a good question. Well, so the only ones I remember is Ty said that no one would be able to get a Switch and that there would be a massive shortage and scalping would be the only way to get it. I said that it would be flawless and like the systems in place worked. And it was somewhere in the middle of all.
Somewhere in the middle, but
Yeah.
I think it was closer to mine because
Well,
I
it
was
was
scalped
weird.
a bunch?
It's
Because my
weird.
mother-
It was, yeah,
I'm just
fair.
gonna say I did not.
Our mom is a scalper.
I didn't watch last week's episode.
Do you ever?
Occasionally, I watch the pod.
Sure.
I didn't-
experiencing it once is enough for me.
I was about to
Yeah.
say, but I didn't watch last week's episode. But when you said, "Did we get anything right?" I looked over at Camryn, and she went. So I'm just gonna trust that Camryn was right.
She hasn't watched the pod either.
I don't know.
You know,
She's a loyal
it's a higher
pod
chance that
person.
she's seen it than I have.
Yeah,
I'll just
fair.
phrase it
Fair,
that
fair.
way. Okay.
No, yeah, so we all got Switch 2s, and from what I can see online, a lot of people had a very stressful experience pre-ordering,
Mhm.
but
I also
there's
heard
not
there
a
was
lot of
trouble in
people who are,
Japan.
I'm not seeing a lot of people who are just saying, I just didn't get one at all. Like, I wasn't able to get one at all.
I think the volume was definitely high. I mean, like
Yeah.
they're predicting this to be the biggest console launch of all time,
Yeah.
and it's not really close.
No.
They're
Yeah,
predicting
right.
something somewhere in the vicinity of 8 million.
If it's
Oh
8
my
million
goodness,
in a
that
day,
is-
that's
that is
insane.
absolutely crazy.
That's insane. That's a
That's
big
nuts.
Well,
feather in
I don't know
Nintendo's
if
cap.
you all predicted that the price of the base console would not increase.
We already knew the price when we were
Yeah.
predicting.
Oh,
You've
by
been
the
gone
time you
for
got
2
to that.
weeks.
Yeah,
For 2 weeks. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, we've known the price.
Because I was
for
gonna say,
a
when I
while,
left, we were going like, yeah, the tariff's
Tariffs.
going to affect the
Scary
price.
tariff.
And,
Weirdly, it affected the price price of the PS5 in a different country.
Yeah, and
I guess to
and also
offset,
the accessories for the Switch 2 still have
the accessories went up.
price increase, but the base console did not experience the price increase.
Guess which one they make in Vietnam, and guess which one they make in China.
I wonder.
Yeah, I wonder which.
Guys, let us know if you got a Switch 2. Let us know what your experience was. I assume that it was bad because everyone's experience was bad. It's kind of embarrassing.
Our mom's experience was great.
Yeah, I was about to say, she didn't have any trouble.
No, it's embarrassing both for Nintendo, but also on these retailers.
I mean, I don't think
system in place.
Here's what will be embarrassing for Nintendo, because Nintendo doesn't have anything to do with how a retailer handles its pre-orders.
Right.
They have to do with how their registration system works, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the Nintendo
the
registration
May 8th thing.
system,
Yeah.
which we are signed up for as a backup, if that is a mess and people get canceled or kicked out or whatever, that'll be on them as embarrassing. This is more embarrassing on like Best Buy's part because the app didn't work. It's really embarrassing on Target's part because it was an absolute free-for-all, and it's embarrassing on Walmart's part because I was in queue to buy a Switch 2 since it went live, and a buddy of mine called me 2 hours later and was like, I just put it in the cart just now and bought it.
Yeah.
And then it kicked me out of the queue and I didn't get one at Walmart.
It was him.
So Walmart, screw you.
These retailers.
Yeah, well, and I will
GameStop's,
say,
I think, went pretty well.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the one I
Our
hear.
good buddy, Stevie Meeks, he got it at a GameStop.
Yeah.
He went in person, I
Gotcha.
think.
That's why it went well, because GameStop was like,
Yeah.
well, we're just going to do it in
You know,
person for a couple hours.
And I will say there is something kind of, I don't know, kind of boring about these online queues.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
I remember being a small child and the Wii launch and all these things are really exciting.
Yeah.
You know, and things like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Element's definitely gone.
You go to stores. I remember the Switch launch.
We can pick this one up at stores.
Have a
Sure, we
friend.
have
Because
to.
Best Buy.
Right.
So I've got a
Go ahead.
friend who met his significant other in line to pick a Nintendo Wii up.
Beautiful.
That is really sweet.
It was
Beautiful.
very adorable. When
That
they
is
met.
that is.
How
really
long did that
sweet.
relationship last?
It's still going. So
Still
longer
going.
than
Longer
mean,
than the Wii last.
How else are
Wow.
you supposed
Yeah.
to meet someone? That's where you meet a real one.
I should have
Is
gone
in
to the
line
GameStop
for-
line.
You
I was about to say you could have found love,
You could
boy.
have found love.
Oh well.
Now, I will
Okay.
say that I have a lot of fun with like game console launches. They're one of the few things nowadays that they're not able to just do it every single year. It's not iPhones. I think we should all be very happy that it's not like an iPhone where like we're just getting a new console every single year. Nintendo Switch 3 is next year,
Gets
and then 4
boring.
is, and it gets
Yeah.
boring.
Mhm. And exorbitant amounts of money end up being spent on
Right.
new releases constantly.
Right.
Whereas obviously Nintendo's probably planning on this console being their staple for
Right.
the next 7 years or so.
Yeah. So, it's exciting. We've all got. It's almost like a relief that like we
Yeah.
have the pre-order.
I'm kind of just glad it's over.
I'm
yeah.
glad it's over. Yeah, and
All
we
right.
can just sort of relax.
And now the news.
Nope, not-
Well,
no, we
don't-
We
nope.
not do the. Are we really not doing the news?
We're not doing,
We're not
the
doing
news,
that
no.
anymore.
Really?
You're safe, Quentin.
You
You're
didn't
safe
even
from the
you didn't
news.
answer the question of
Thank
what
God.
have you been playing?
Oh,
Do you want to kick off what you've been playing?
Absolutely, because I just finished playing Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Oh.
Well, let me rephrase. It's Star Wars,
Oh, that's what,
Knights of the Old Republic
Thank you.
2, the Sith Lords.
Colon.
All right.
Great title.
I was about to say, I mean, anyways, the point
Rivals
is,
Kingdom Hearts.
it
titles,
really, with the
Yeah.
titles, but I just finished replaying that, and it's unparalleled. It's unparalleled. I don't think there's
in
any
a good way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
With
there's
you, we're never quite sure.
I don't think that there's any sci-fi RPG that even compares for me
Okay.
in terms of atmosphere. It's interesting because it's sort of a post-apocalyptic Star Wars, but it's also a flip on Star Wars philosophy. And as someone who's not that huge into Star Wars, I like things that differ from sort
Kinda
of the
different.
mainstream
Yeah.
Star Wars. But I also love post-apocalyptic stories, and the idea of running around similar or even some of the same worlds from the first game, but now they're in ruins, is really interesting to me.
Cool.
The whole atmosphere of the game is just very unique. The writing is so snappy. It's just
I never
classic
I never beat
Obsidian writing.
the second one. I didn't even get very far in the second one.
Really?
I played through the entirety of the first one, but then I got to the second one. I made the mistake of doing them back to back, so I was a little
That's
burnt
hard.
out.
Yeah, they're a bit
them.
much.
And it's also
you start the second one with none of the like cool powers from the first.
Which that's a really
but
yeah.
Any RPG you go
And
back to back on, it's tough.
It's not a good
and
idea.
also it's difficult because like you play the first game and the tone is very much Star Wars, sort of the typical Star Wars, and it's very exciting and heroic and all those things, and it has this very neat story. And you play the second one and it's kind of invalidating. It basically says all of the good that you did in the first game didn't actually work out, right? Like you in the first game, again, spoilers for this 30-year-old game.
Oh no.
You in the first game having, if you do the light side hero path, you save the whole galaxy, and then the second game starts and it's like the galaxy is in ruins, like the Republic is on the brink of collapse. The second that the first game ended, your hero character left and like new enemies just showed up and just took advantage of the situation. It's like, it's very challenging for the player going directly into it because you feel like, oh man, I just played this game for like 60 hours
it's sort
doing
of
all the side
deflating.
quests. It's kind of deflating. And I've had that experience playing them back to back. This time I didn't play the first game.
You just went straight to the second
straight to the second one.
Yeah.
And I just feel like every Obsidian game I've ever played, even ones that aren't 100% perfect, they just have such an atmosphere that is just hard to capture. I still haven't played Avowed, but I would love to. But when I played the Outer Wilds or the Outer Worlds, which one? I always get those mixed up. The Obsidian RPG.
Those are both real games.
They
the
are.
Outer Wilds.
The Outer Worlds is the Obsidian
Is the Obsidian one. The Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about that game a little bit, but it's the atmosphere and snappy writing is just so distinctly Obsidian.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you know
how
something
they
I think
kinda
about
capture that each time.
About the Knights of the Old Republic games is that the first one, I know a lot of people have a lot of really strong opinions about the two of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They usually never line up. You either like the first or the second.
Yeah.
And have some, but the thing about the first one was it's really straightforward in a whole bunch of ways.
Yeah.
Like the good guys are just good. The bad guys are just bad.
Sure.
Yeah,
The
pretty much.
Malik is like, he's just a Sith Lord. He was this apprentice and then he tried to kill his master. And he didn't try to kill his master for some like interesting reason. It's what Sith do.
Yeah, power grab.
It's a very, for a lot of people, it kind of does fill that Star Wars thing of like, heroic good guys and villainous bad guys. Nothing wrong with it. It's great.
Sure. Right.
But one of the things I really liked about 2 was there were heroes and villains who both do good and bad things.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times the scale of where your sympathies lied wasn't always like clear cut. The Jedi Masters that you rescue from all the planets, they do some bad stuff toward the end of the game, but you kind of get why it was like the third time I played through, I was like, I actually I agree with a lot of stuff they're doing.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
They're like good people are doing like a bad thing and it's because they're doing it for a good reason, but like it's like that was really interesting that you could have antagonists that you didn't just disagree with.
Right.
And then you do have, protagonists who you don't completely agree with either. It was a lot of this, like, they did gray so well in 2. And I feel like one of the things in 1 where I like the, like, light and dark. I like where we have a villain who's going to be Darth Vader-esque. He's going to be a big dude with a lightsaber. We're going to have these, heroic heroes fighting him. There's a couple of times when 1 tries to dip its toes into, like, the middle ground, and it doesn't do it great.
Not really.
No.
Well, I played it differently than I've ever played it before. I decided to do a true neutral run, and my goal was end the game with a neutral alignment, right? Never get a disapproval from Kreia, like lowering your influence with Kreia, right? And end the game having made sort of lining up your goals with hers. And To do that, you have got to play 5D chess the entire time, because trying to be like, okay, really like looking at the situation and being like, what would she do here, right? I need to get that on a bracelet. What would Kreia do?
What would Kreia do, right?
Because she doesn't care if you choose to do a good thing, but she does care if you do a good thing without really thinking about it, you know?
Right.
And so a good example of this is...
She's always like really questioning your motives and the purpose of what you do.
Yes, because
she's an annoying character when you play the game for the first time, because you do something and she always like throws the counter argument out. So then you like reload your save and do the other thing, and she throws another counter argument out.
It's hard to please her.
Yeah.
And so there's a section of the game where
I was really happy when I got to kill her at the end.
That is really exciting, even though you didn't beat it.
No, yeah, I was like, I didn't
even get to kill her. But there's
spoilers for this now almost 30-year-old game.
Sorry,
there's a section where you can choose to help protect this settlement or align with these mercenaries who want to destroy the settlement, right? And if you tell the mercenaries when they offer you this job, if you say, no, I'll never help you, villain, right? Kreia's like, you moron, you absolute donkey, right?
Right.
She's like, why wouldn't you just lie to them and say that you'll be their friend so that you have an advantage over them? They think they can count on you, and you're going to use that against them, right?
Yeah.
And, but you can like say like, yeah, I'll work for you, right? And then choose to work with the settlement, and she doesn't care, right?
Right.
As long as you look at situations like that in a more nuanced, less just like, I'm a good guy, I'm going to do good things.
Sure.
Working to like the actual advantage. And there's so many like moments throughout the game where you can choose a neutral path that is a little more thought out than evil or good.
Interesting.
I just love that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So it was a great replay. Loved it. Played with a bunch of mods. Had a lot of fun. And yeah,
cool. That's the Old Republic 2. How about that?
How about that?
Brought it back.
Quentin played an old game.
I was about to say, are you shocked that I didn't say I played a brand new game?
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked.
I didn't play the
Actually,
Oblivion
for a while.
remake.
Yeah, for a while, Quentin was like playing more new games than us, which was kind of ironic.
That was kind of weird.
That actually has been like a somewhat common feature where we would say like, you know, have you guys played this game? And you'd say no, and I go, oh.
For me,
that's
it's because
shocking.
Nintendo's been so quiet lately, and I'm pretty much like a 80%.
Did you? Yeah. Did you beat Mario and Luigi?
Not yet. I got really.
You've got new games to play.
I know. I need to go back. I made the mistake because Nintendo was mean to me, and they released Mario and Luigi, and then like a week later, Dragon Quest. I was like bouncing back between the two of them, and I never beat either.
Well,
of them.
that's too bad because everyone was going gaga for Dragon Quest.
Yeah. Dragon Quest 3 is HD 2D is fantastic.
So what have you been playing?
What? So I am even.
Where are you in your Mario Kart? Yeah.
In my Mario Kart, I've now completed Double Dash.
Nice.
I've moved on to Wii. I'm about halfway through Wii.
I thought DS was before Wii.
It is.
It is.
You missed it.
You know what?
No,
he's
I forgot.
He's already halfway through Wii.
Yeah.
You don't need to stop.
So
play DS.
I will say that I cheated a little bit in the sense that I'm going through the console ones and then I'm going to go back through the portable ones.
Here's the thing. Have you considered that you could play the handheld one, you know, at the same time that you're going through these? Because picture this. You're at work, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're pooping on the company's dime.
Yeah.
And what do you have in hand?
A Nintendo
Mario
3DS.
Kart on the Nintendo
I actually poop
DS.
out the company's dimes because I constantly
love to eat those dimes. The point is that you could be playing that, then when you come home, you play Mario Kart Wii.
That's not a bad idea.
That's my
No,
suggestion.
It is a bad idea because I'd have to take my 3DS into a nasty company bathroom.
You know what? Just play it at your desk.
That's true. Just right in their
Play it at your
face.
desk.
Right in their face.
Assert dominance.
No, yeah, I've been plugging along at Mario Kart.
You're
in
plugged.
preparation for Mario Kart World.
Mario Kart. Cool.
That's exciting.
No, but in addition,
And we're skipping 8, right?
I think I am going to play 8. Yeah,
Really?
I'm going to go for it. I've got 2 months, and I'm really good at Mario Kart.
But
don't know which game
Are
we're
you
talking
going to
Yeah,
skip 8 Deluxe?
I don't know.
Wait, no,
Ethan,
no,
I
no.
love
you should.
Mario Kart.
Oh,
I
wait,
know
wait.
you do.
Are
I
you
love
going to
Mario.
wait,
But you
are
do
gonna
have
put 8
I will
to
read
big
Deluxe?
RPGs
I
to
will
that.
re-advocate
fair.
that you skip Deluxe.
Okay.
Because we played that for 8 years.
Yeah, and I play that like almost every night with Rachel, so like
Yeah.
it doesn't really count.
Are you? Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
the same. 8 would make sense, though.
No, but the other thing that I've been playing,
Mhm.
I've been playing the Sega Dreamcast.
Oh my God, my
The best-
favorite.
I just noticed you had the box.
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, where did you
it's
get
right
it?
there.
I bought an in-box, almost like unused Dreamcast a few years ago from a local game store called Old School.
Old School Games. Shout out to
Shout
Old
out!
School
Go
Games
follow them on
and
Instagram, Old School Nation.
Shout out to that guy. What's his name?
Just leave it at that.
That guy.
Shout out to that guy.
Who's that
Shout
guy
out to him.
at Old
No, so Quinn, what do you
School? I
think
don't
I've been
remember him.
playing on the Dreamcast? What have I been playing?
Wave Racer.
Sonic
Nope.
Adventure.
No.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. I got excited about a game series that I love from the past because of something that happened recently, an announcement recently.
Ridge Racer.
No.
Is it
No.
Power Stone?
No.
Come on, guys.
It's
You
all
know what
guys.
it is.
You know what it is. Come
Jedi
on.
Power
Quinn.
Battles.
No, what? I'll give you another hint. It was in the Switch 2 Direct.
Jedi Power Battles.
He didn't watch the.
Wasn't that announced recently?
It was.
A
It came
remake
out.
of,
The remake's pretty
yeah,
fun.
I've
Yeah.
heard there was a remake.
All right, one more shot, Quentin. Come on. And then I'll give you the hint that you have to get it if I say the next hint.
Switch to honey. That's,
Okay, wait.
that
Let me
went
give
out
him this hint. I
immediately.
gotta get my voice ready. Like,
Yeah.
transcending history and the world. A tale of souls and swords.
Oh my God, it's
eternally
Soul Calibur.
He got it. He got it.
Oh my
There you
God! You've been playing Soul
I've been
Calibur
playing
2?
Soul Calibur. No, so I got excited for 2, and then I was going to go
'Cause-
play 2, but I was like, you know what? Let me hold off until
Mhm.
June.
In case you didn't know, Soul Calibur 2 for the GameCube is coming with
to-
the Switch 2.
Yeah, right.
And it was the one we didn't get a remake of. And
Yes.
it's coming with widescreen support
Yeah.
and HD
Yeah.
2 is arguably
rendering.
the best in the series. Like, it has great, solid mechanics,
It's
and it
pretty
has
well liked.
Weapon Master mode,
Yes.
which is kind of untouched
Right.
as far as single player content. Yeah, but more importantly, on the GameCube, it had Link.
It has Link.
It's Link,
And-
who can spam bombs.
Yeah.
on
Famously.
PS2 back in the day. They had Hayachi from Tekken. They really
Yeah.
got snubbed.
Yeah, another.
And
Yeah.
then Xbox got Spawn, the comic book character Spawn,
Yeah.
which is
Which,
kind of cool.
I was going to say that one
It's
was
pretty
pretty
cool.
popular. People
Yeah.
really liked
But-
that.
Yeah.
No one cared because the GameCube version had Link from The Legend
it
of
did have
Zelda.
Link.
Right,
And-
overshadowed
And
everybody.
bear in mind, this
yeah.
is during like a really high moment for Zelda, like right off the heels, a few years after Ocarina of Time,
Yeah.
and it's Ocarina of Time Link in.
When
Soul
did Soul Calibur 2 come out before or after Wind Waker?
I think right before Wind Waker would have been like 2003. Our producer Camryn's looking it up.
That would have
Yeah.
been wild to
Um,
have this high, for the time, high fidelity like Link model in a
Yeah.
non-Nintendo made game, and then Zelda,
2, madam.
and then Zelda comes out the
I-
next year, and
I
it's
actually
like
have a theory that
very
it
different.
added fuel to the fire of Wind Waker being
Hatred.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hated. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Cameron.
For home consoles, March 27th, 2003, but arcades, July 10th, 2002.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
then
So the
and
Link one would have been
Wind Waker-
2003.
Wind Waker was
But-
a little before that, or the same time as that.
I think Wind Waker was right before.
Same year,
It was
at
03,
It was
least.
right?
03, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 03 that
think it was
Wind Waker
02.
came out, but it may be 02.
Let's see.
But-
Me and Ty dueling over Wind Waker's original release date. Is it 02 or 03?
But
Let's see whose brain is.
I actually think
rotting
Devin is
more.
right now because Majora's Mask is 2000. I can't picture Wind Waker just
Yeah,
being
maybe not.
2 years after that.
In Japan, 2002, but in North America, 2003.
that
Oh,
tracks.
we were
I
both
was right.
We were both right.
I was right.
You
Yeah.
were both right.
No,
Get
so-
along,
anyways,
children.
Soul
Never.
Calibur 2. I've been playing the original Soul Calibur
Yeah.
because I
Doesn't
did
have a link.
I did complete Weapon Master mode on the GameCube,
Yeah.
Soul Calibur 2, but I never even touched mission mode in Soul Calibur. Which, fun fact, did you guys know that the Xbox Live version of Soul Calibur that you can still get on Xbox One is like a weird port that doesn't have mission mode.
Really?
What?
Yeah, mission mode is just completely.
They just
missing
took it
from
out?
Why would they even remove that?
I don't know. I think maybe it's a port of the arcade version of the game.
Oh.
It is called Xbox Live Arcade.
I don't know. But anyways, I've been
okay.
playing the Dreamcast version.
That's great.
Its mission mode's good.
Yeah.
It's not Weapon Master,
No, I mean nothing. Yeah.
but it is I do see the precursor to it. It's still like
did you like Soul Calibur 6?
I did. It
So
was
many
good.
people hate Soul Calibur
Never
6. I
played
actually
it.
thought it was good, but I don't play competitively, so maybe it was like super imbalanced. Geralt from The Witcher
yeah.
was the guest character,
I s-
and
It had several. So Nier from is it? Is her name?
No,
2B from here.
from Nier Automata was in it.
Yeah.
There was a
Good
couple
one.
guest characters.
I
liked it. I think it was the best elements of 5 brought into.
Who
like,
were the specials?
I
in
wasn't
5?
crazy about 5. I don't think
was
5
the
had them.
Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
guy,
yeah, that's right. I
whatever
didn't
his
care for
name
5.
is.
I didn't play 5. I think the last one I played was 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2 and 3 were great for me. 4 was okay.
4's okay. 4 was clunky and kind of left the more like traditional aspects of Soul Calibur. Tried to like
It was, yeah.
I mean, I know
make it new, and they just
It was the
stick
first
landing.
time that I saw in my young life anything Star Wars and thought, I'm not excited for this.
Yeah,
right.
We were sitting
Yeah.
there during E3, and I remember when it was like a new threat appears, and you hear the Darth Vader breathing, and we all looked at each other and went.
Yeah, we
I
were
don't
all
think
just
that-
kind of like, yeah, this
And
is really fit.
We had the nerdiest
No.
moment ever when Darth Vader clashes with Mitsurugi, and we're like, "Why isn't his lightsaber melting that sword? It's just
Yeah,
regular
it's
metal." And like,
I feel like also when that was right around when the Lord of the Rings movies were released, right? That was just after.
No, it was a bit later.
No, the
It was-
original
yeah.
Soul Calibur would have been
Yeah, I was gonna
when
say
the Lord of the Rings
because Lord of the Rings was
released.
2003 to 2005.
No, it was 1 to 3.
2001 to 2003.
1-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
That would've
original
been
Soul
Soul
Calibur.
I always felt like that by that time we should have been seeing like fantasy things crossover. Like if
It
it
just
had
works
been
better.
Lord of the Rings,
yeah,
and
sure.
Star
Like if
Wars.
Aragorn had
Like
shown
Star Wars
up.
had got Lord of the Rings was just getting
Yeah.
bigger and bigger by then.
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah, Star
That's
Wars.
why like The
Star Wars
Witcher was a
strange
good
choice.
a good
The
fit.
Witcher was a great pick.
It was
Yeah.
also
That-
also strange because I mean they introduced a character like Yoda who's so much smaller and he was just a
You
meta
literally
nightmare.
can't be grabbed.
Yeah,
and
right.
wasn't it
Yeah.
a thing where like PlayStation had one of them and Xbox had the other?
It
and
was.
you had to pay for the remaining one.
Yeah, no, it was because it was
Eventually.
so there
PlayStation
was-
had Vader.
There was
and
the
Xbox
Secret
had
Apprentice.
360. They both had.
They both had Secret Apprentice, and then
Yeah.
one had
Xbox had Yoda.
Yoda. And,
Yeah, that's right.
And
PS3
then
had,
later you could download
later
them,
you
but
could
it wasn't
download
like
them.
at launch.
Oh yeah,
Which
and
is just
also
crummy.
they were really just very.
Oh, they were also
unbalanced
in the game. You
characters.
could just if you had a hacked one, you could just
Yeah.
play.
Well, because if you played online, you could fight Xbox. Back then, crossplay was just sort of a given, which is funny. No, but the exciting thing
no.
for me about Soul Calibur 2 coming to the Switch 2 is that years ago, the Xbox One and PS4 got Soul Calibur 2 HD
Mhm.
that had an online versus mode.
Yeah.
Had it was HD, reworked everything.
Yeah.
Had Weapon Master mode, and it had Hayachi and Spawn in it.
Yeah.
But it didn't come to Wii U.
No.
And so, because I think it was an Unreal remake,
Okay.
at least an Unreal port.
So we
And so for whatever reason, they didn't put it on Wii U.
so
So
no link.
Link just sort of was stuck on the GameCube. So the fact that basically the Switch 2 version is going to be kind of the same thing as the HD. It's going to have widescreen. It's going to be in HD.
Yeah.
And it's going to have online multiplayer, just only with your friends. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Now, what if I told you there was already a way to play Soul Calibur 2 with Link in widescreen?
Guys,
Yeah.
Can we all just
and
appreciate the
with your
fact that
friends?
Quentin's been back, and I think it's been like half an hour, and he
Uh-huh.
only just brought up emulation.
I know.
Can
What
you
happened?
believe?
I can't believe what
Listen.
happened to you while you were out there.
You
Yeah.
know, I was really being polite. Okay,
Right.
I should have
Thank
brought it
you.
up in the first
Thank
place
you.
because we mentioned that the Switch 2 is coming out.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you recall.
it is.
And
coming
I
out.
didn't bring up the fact
you
that
have one.
I have one
You have
coming.
one
Yeah,
pre-ordered.
I didn't mention the fact that my most anticipated game for Switch 2
Yeah.
Yeah.
is Metroid Prime 4.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
A game which I will be, I can't admit to this, but I would be, if I were interested in doing this,
Mhm.
playing it on my computer.
Yeah.
Oh, but you can't do that.
I
There's
can't
no
do that
way.
because there's no legal way to do that.
No.
Obviously.
But I would be playing it on my computer at 4K,
Yeah.
120 frames per second, and enjoying it.
I think it's so funny because we haven't had the opportunity to talk to Quinn about it. Not to go off on a tangent,
Please.
like you did last week.
Yeah, let's go
Let's
off on a
say
tangent.
this segment we kind of can.
We had Quinn talk so much about emulation, and then we find out that the Wii games running on the Switch 2,
The Switch games running.
the
Switch
Switch
game,
games
yeah,
running on the Switch 2 are emulated.
Yeah.
Nintendo
What?
made their own
Partially.
emulator.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It's not really
What?
an emulator. It's a
What?
translation layer similar to Proton.
Okay,
it's actually
that's
it's
in
a-
effect.
It's a true compatibility layer because it's layer 1.
Yes.
Okay, here's the
Proton,
thing.
Proton's layer.
I'm
Here's the issue. That's so stupid. Here's the fact.
No,
that
but
it's not
it
even
is
running
surprising
natively, but
though. It is surprising though that the Switch 2 does not have any Switch hardware in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
We were
it's
all pretty sure
much
they were
newer
just
architecture.
going-
But
yeah.
here's my thing: is that Nintendo is releasing the like Breath of the Wild
Right.
for $80 for the
Yeah.
Switch 2.
Right.
And that will not
And,
be running in the compatibility layer because it's getting an actual upgrade
Because
pack.
the upgrade
As I
packs
understand it, the upgrade packs are fully recompiled.
I don't really know. They didn't.
Here's my thing. So
I think you're right.
they want to charge me $80 to play Breath of the Wild, which is a 7-year-old game, 8-year-old game, something like that. Right?
Not you specifically
Oblivion's remake
because you'll
is
be
60.
playing it for free.
Here's my thing.
That's correct.
So they said that there won't be slowdown, right?
Right.
And there'll be higher resolution, better frame rate, right?
Better load times.
And better load times,
Yeah.
right?
And a new
And what-
feature where your phone will read Zelda notes to you.
Yeah.
What? That's weird.
That
Anyways,
feature is going to work actually with
all right, that's weird.
outside the Switch 2.
All I'm going to say is
I'm
that
really
that's-
hoping that you can access those notes in the game too, because I don't want to get my phone.
Again, all I'm going to say is that's weird and stupid.
It's a Nintendo
But-
thing. Yeah.
but my point is that I just looked at 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
I just checked it the other day. 3 years ago, I replayed Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
mods, and I put 160 hours into it.
Wow.
Okay. Because I was doing everything, and also there was I was playing the Second Wind mod, which is super extensive.
Really
if you
good.
haven't played it, Second Wind it breathes new life into that game. There was hardly any load times of any kind.
Right.
I got consistent high frame rate
Sure.
because it was the Wii U version runs phenomenally.
What's your
Okay.
GPU again?
I have a 4090.
What's your GPU? Oh,
I have a
right.
4090. It was in 4K.
Yep.
Okay. No stuttering in any location in the game.
Okay.
So on and so forth.
What is it? What are you rounding to a point?
3 years ago, this
Right.
was an option for people. Okay?
Right. I mean, and the FBI
Are
had
you
the internet
3
like
years ago?
decades before we did, like, you know,
wait a minute. You've made a claim here, and I don't know that it's true. You said that
said you're
3 years ago.
3 years ago, I played
this was available to people, but
That's
you haven't
true.
proven you're a person.
That's right.
No. Yeah.
It was available to others
That's right.
who are people.
All right.
There's
Okay?
no proof of that.
So-
in this room, there's no proof of that.
What I'm
There's no
saying
evidence.
is that when Nintendo says, eat our slop, pay us $80 for it,
Yeah.
all I say is that I already gave Nvidia my slop money. Okay?
right.
And
And
nobody
he's
else
back,
gets to
ladies
have
and
it.
gentlemen.
Back.
Quentin's back.
It's okay to
Hey,
have you
Quentin's
back.
back.
It's good to have it.
I'm so happy.
Ty,
No,
what have you
me
been
and Ty have basically been playing the same thing with one
Well, then
small
Ty doesn't need to
exception.
talk. Then Ethan, you talk for him.
Yeah, shut up, Ty. No one needs to hear what you have to say.
No,
What
the
are you
only-
going to say?
The only thing I'll say real quick is
Okay.
that
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
playing Baldur's Gate
Oh,
Baldy
to
Gate?
try out some of the new subclasses that launched with patch 8.
okay.
I heard about
And it's a
that.
really interesting thing. I don't have a ton to say right now, but it does kind of feel like they look at subclasses from the official D&D and they look at the worst ones and they go, can we make these good? And then they make them better
Right.
for in the world of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
And then some people go, oh, this is how we fix them. And it's usually not.
Yeah,
It's usually not. It
And
doesn't
I
work
will
quite
say
that way.
they did add the disgusting, dirty footed giants, I think, as one of the classes. Is that correct?
Path of the Giant for barbarians.
Path of the
Interesting.
giant,
Which-
and it's like a big foot. right? As the symbol, it's like a dirty, massive foot.
That's an attack they have. They kick.
Oh, that's what I was seeing.
Yeah.
I've also been seeing that they added a photo mode. I don't know if you've been playing around with the photo mode. The only reason I know about it is because Camryn has been making the most vile pictures that anyone has ever seen. May God have mercy on her soul. Honestly, everything she has shown me so far has been the most horrific usage of this
I'm really
camera
interested to see
system.
these pictures now. Okay.
I hope nobody sees them.
Yeah, you will.
I was gonna say, are you gonna send me one that I can?
There's gonna be an untitled group chat,
Okay.
and you're all just gonna get pictures that you wish you hadn't,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
and you're not
I'm
gonna
so
get an
worried.
option.
No,
Yeah.
It's happening.
It's gonna happen.
No, we were sitting together and she said, "Take a look at what I made," and she turned the Steam Deck toward me, and I literally recoiled. Like I literally recoiled in my seat.
I don't know why, but immediately
So
the
good.
first thing I thought of is whatever picture she took of Gail have got to be hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Immediately I knew it. I was
You know,
like, Gail,
you're
it's gonna be
definitely
funny.
right. I will say the
Is he
one that made me
hitting the nail on the
recoil
head?
was Halcyon.
Oh well, obviously.
She showed me one
Yeah,
of
that's
Halcyon's.
Hot take, every picture of Halcyon is vile.
Is another
There's no
low-hanging
way to
fruit.
take a picture of Halcyon without it being vile.
low hanging fruit.
No, it literally low-hanging fruit.
Literally.
All right.
As the only person in this room who's not played Baldur's Gate, I was like, as soon as you said that, I went, "Oh man, I need to try that game out." After this conversation, I'm good.
Maybe
Broke
not.
you.
Maybe not.
I don't need to. I don't
Well,
need to
I
try
think
it.
they did in this update also add the where you could turn off certain things, like you could turn off explicit scenes. They added that in the update, and so you can
I thought they
fully
already
disable.
had that.
Is that already in it?
Yeah, they already had that.
Okay, so you can disable all the explicit scenes,
Can
right?
you play the game in a go-kart and like go across the world? And
Oh, you could
fly
always
and
do
race
that.
with your
That was
friends?
native. That was already
yeah,
in the game.
you could
I don't
always
know
do
what you
that.
mean.
Okay, now I'll
The
check
interesting
the
thing
game out.
is, because I play a lot of D&D these days, is that
Nerd.
Baldur's Gate
No, I'm
could
kidding.
have accurate. Baldur's Gate has a lot of really good ideas that you can bring to D&D. In fact, like the 2024 rules brought a ton of them,
Mhm.
like using healing potions as a bonus action.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, like, wasting your whole turn healing with a potion was really boring. And it's just cooler in Baldur's Gate when you just
Yeah.
throw it on there. Dungeons and Dragons just took that and they incorporated it into the regular system.
Sure.
Some of the stuff they do to make things work, like Arcane Archer, people say like there's some really crazy Arcane Archer builds in Baldur's Gate. I've looked at them. They're really crazy because of the stuff you get in Baldur's Gate.
Right.
Oh, cool.
And you can't really translate that to D&D.
Interesting.
Some of it,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a couple abilities in Baldur's Gate that rely on the fact that it's a video game. They'll
Right.
like have a complicated mechanism processing, like every time you hit an enemy, you get so many stacks of this, and you pay it off when it does that, and it translates to this. And it's like, on a tabletop RPG, you want to keep things as straightforward as possible.
Yeah,
you
sure.
don't want to track
Yeah.
a billion status effects.
Right.
Well,
And so, like, it
yeah.
doesn't always translate, but it's really neat. Some of them do. Some
Yeah.
of the things on there really do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't touch D&D as we've talked about in past weeks
Mhm.
Right,
because
we've ever discussed
D&D stands for devils. No, don't. Right? And I don't mess around with that.
You don't mess
because
around with that.
I know.
Yeah, right.
I also don't mess around with it because last
It
time
actually stands for Dumb and Dumber.
It does actually.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. The last
Yeah.
time I played it,
And I'm a big
let's
fan.
just say
That's why you two play it.
Yeah.
last time I played Baldur's Gate, I downloaded that polyamory mod, and some bad things happened. All right, maintenance had to repair that whole room. All right, I mean it was bad. The cops got called.
Can we?
The ambulance got called.
Ty, can you please tell us what you've been playing? That's not Baldur's Gate.
I haven't been playing Baldur's Gate, though
I was stuck to the
should.
ceiling like Spider-Man.
News.
Okay,
That's going on.
I
Yeah,
couldn't.
that's
So,
going out.
good lord.
You were saying
it's nice to not be the one you have to censor
I
constantly.
know. Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of different games. I've been
Okay.
playing what might be my forever game, which is Xenoblade Chronicles X. I've talked about that for the last 3
Yeah.
weeks straight, so
Forever games.
I won't go into greater detail other than the fact that to say that like that game is all side quests and I'm loving it. I'm just
Yeah.
doing side
You
quests.
said Xenoblade Chronicles 3?
X.
X.
Oh, X.
Did
X.
you
Right.
last
okay.
time?
Definitive
Did you
edition.
talk about how you had gotten to the new content?
I just got to the new content.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I don't. 'Cause that's what I was
So far so good. I like it. I like it quite a bit. It like there's a definite.
This is content that was not in the Wii U version.
Not in the Wii U version. I think it's better than the content they added to Xenoblade 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is a dynamic shift in without going into any spoilers. You can tell when something is like seems to be written by somebody different, because Xenoblade the scenario and characters were created by the Xeno guy who made all the Xeno games.
Yeah.
But the actual storyline of the game was written by a different writer. The main Xeno team was working, I believe, on Breath of the Wild at the time.
Yeah.
And so it has a very different tone. And then you start this, and it's like, oh, this feels like a Xeno game.
Right.
Some things happen, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it was really good in a very good way. So I'm having fun with that. But I've also been playing with Ethan. We've been playing, and you a little bit, the game Enshrouded. We got a group
for a half second.
We set up a server. There's an update coming out, and we were going to wait, but the update seems to be mostly stuff that's a little further in the game. So we were like, well, why don't we start a new file now and then just be working toward the updated stuff? Having a blast with it. The game's cool. I actually haven't really played the game in like 9 months. And it's like a completely different game. There's so much stuff to do. I was
happy with its Steam Deck performance. It did a lot better.
You can get a solid 30 on Steam Deck pretty easily.
Even on my redheaded stepchild Steam Deck that I've talked about heavily.
Yes, that's busted up and cheap, and it's the low-end model that they said they would support, and they didn't continue to support.
Exactly.
Now,
I'm not going to get started on that.
No.
I already ranted about it last week.
We did play a game that kind of got us into Enshrouded.
Oh, that's right.
By playing a very popular game right now called RuneScape Dragon Wild.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was fun.
About that.
It was fun.
Is it? It's RuneScape?
Yeah, it's RuneScape. It's set in the RuneScape world. It's still in beta, which is completely forgivable for it to have problems in beta.
Sure.
That's fine.
It has potential.
It has a lot of potential, but there's a couple things you should do before you launch your game, and one of them is like make sure that your game doesn't have wildly vacillating difficulty.
Yeah.
And so like someone will log in and it will just say the world has become more dangerous, and then like a whole gang of goblins will show up.
The guy you're fighting will just murder you. You're doing pretty good.
Okay.
What's the
gameplay like?
Enshrouded.
It's just like Enshrouded.
No, it's Valheim.
Okay.
It's closer to like
from
Valheim. Yeah.
They stole everything from Valheim they could. And here's the thing.
RuneScape is literally you just click and like attack.
This is
that's
very
okay.
different.
Here's the problem. And the reason we wound up switching to Enshrouded. Survival crafters have been in a balance of like how much do you build thing and how much do you punch wood? Right? And we're getting to where punching wood was a lot of everything we did, and you only built stuff every once in a while. And games were trying to figure out how do you make it satisfying to build stuff without just giving the player everything.
Right.
Enshrouded cracked the code. They just cracked it. They cracked it wide open, and they made like a game where like gathering stuff is easy and fun, building stuff is smooth and like painless. Like it's just everything in it is fun to do.
Yeah.
Because they just took the bull crap out. They just don't they just let you craft things instantly for the most part. Other processing stations, but they just like create chests that route all your gear from them whenever you're in inside the zone.
Enshrouded leans away from crafting and more onto.
They just don't waste your time.
Yeah, right.
They just don't waste your time.
Yeah.
And playing Dragon Wilds, the thing that we kept coming back to was, there's a lot of artificial time wasting in it, where it's like you've knocked down a bunch of boulders. Now you have to stand here and click on them over and over and over again till they're all destroyed. Now it does have some ways of getting around that.
And some people do like that, like in Minecraft.
Absolutely,
that's
they have
some cathartic.
They have some cool stuff. Is that there's a whole tier of magic that's just about gathering, like one where you summon like a spectral axe and throw it to chop down trees.
It's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But at some point, you've stolen a bunch from Valheim. Great, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
they've incorporated the mods from Valheim too. Clearly, these people had played it with Valheim with mods and were like, "Oh,
Which,
these
I mean,
mods make it
kudos if
better."
Valheim's gonna drag its feet on everything.
Well, what I always say is that theft is acceptable.
Yeah, great
Right.
artists
I
steal.
think it's okay to do
period.
that. Theft is acceptable.
period.
Because here's my thing. Let's say you make a game,
Mhm.
right? And it's called Dinkum.
Right.
Okay. And
You know, my
The
game was
that
called Dinkum.
radicalized you.
you make a game called Dinkum, and it's right on the cusp of being an acceptable game, but it's not. And then the guy who makes Dinkum sells it to an AI company, and everyone hates him for it, including me. Okay. And this is because Dinkum is truly the enemy. And I've been saying this the whole time. You can go back to our earlier episodes where I pointed out that Dinkum,
Yeah, you should go check out our older
it
episodes.
radicalized
Episodes
me,
if you want to hate us.
toward anarcho-socialism.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, okay? I knew that this was going to happen. I
Right.
said this was going to happen. Everybody said, no, Dinkum is good. Dinkum is positively aligned. I said, it's not. He's going to sell it to an AI company. And he did.
You said
Wow,
that.
you predicted
I
that.
predicted
I
that
think you
coming.
gave him the idea.
I predicted this whole thing.
Mhm.
I think you
So,
orchestrated this
Imagine
whole
if
thing.
I made a game
Right.
called Dinko.
Okay.
Okay? Dinko.
Like,
And it was
a
like
dinko ate my baby.
a Dinko ate my baby. And imagine if it was like Dinkum,
Mm-hmm.
but it was good.
Deep
Right.
cut.
It was good. It did all the things that Dinkum does good, and it did all the rest even better.
Right.
And I didn't sell it to an AI company because I'm not trash. If anybody said, I can't believe you did this. You gave us a better product. You gave us something
He
that was
did, however,
good.
sell it to an oil mining company.
Yeah, right. He does.
I sold it to Halliburton. Here's my thing.
He sold out differently.
They're training child soldiers on Dinko, my new game. Here's my thing.
Yeah, wrap up because our producer has the topic bag ready
Yeah,
to go.
Here's my thing. If someone makes a game that is very clearly inspired or reminiscent or so on and so forth than another game, and it is simply better than the other game,
Right.
then all I'm suggesting is that it was completely and totally correct for us, because I have I have no stake in this. I don't care if Valheim gets ripped off, as long as we get a game that's better than Valheim.
That's kind of how
steal from them.
That's kind of how movies are too.
Don't
Like
care.
people are like, I hate all these remakes, and I'm like, no, you hate that the remakes are not as good as the originals.
They're bad.
They just keep trying and they're bad. But then like a True Grit or something comes out, and you're like, or a Dune, and you're like, oh, this is incredible, and I'm like, yes, because it was good.
Last week
it
we
was
had this
better.
really good topic about remakes. It was so much fun to talk about.
Yeah, it was great.
Thanks for throwing that in the topic.
We're all in alignment on
Yeah,
it.
we're really happy
that we love them.
Speaking of topics, topic of the week.
All right,
Guys,
we're
welcome
back.
to talk about the topic of the week.
Okay, let's.
That
You
was
want to
really
take that
good.
again?
So welcome to
Topic of the week.
Papadopoulos.
Welcome to the Mushmouth Brothers
That's
podcast.
right.
It's
Oh,
the
no.
We got the cross
Mushmouth
chatter.
Brothers
All right,
podcast.
producer Camryn, could you reach into the topic bag with your
Dip your sensuous claw into the bag.
yes, and we shall get a topic. We need to refill it. It's getting a little low.
I put a
I
new
will
one
be.
in it just last week.
I will be refilling it with 20
I'm going by
questions. about
texture
me.
this time.
Texture, interesting.
One of these is like glossier, and I don't want to touch it.
Oh, glossy.
You shouldn't.
Who's it from?
I wonder.
It's from Ethan.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
When you get a great game that has annoying fans, what do you do?
You kill them.
Hot.
You kill those fans whenever you encounter them. Let me tell you something. If I'm walking on the street and someone says, hello, I'm an Undertale fan, open fire. Open fire. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Quinn likes some great games.
It's really sad
I
that
do like some
Undertale
great
was
games.
also what popped into my head. Great game, but its fan base is
This is such a minefield. Are you right? If you're watching
so dangerous.
this thing and you
Yeah.
happen to be an Undertale fan,
We're sorry.
we're so sorry, but
I'm not
we're coming
no,
for you.
and I'm not sorry. If you listen,
Sorry,
if,
but also
if,
you're
I was gonna
kind
say
of
I'm not
annoying.
sorry, and I am coming for you. The raw eggs are ready. If you are a fan of Undertale or Stardew Valley,
Yeah, right.
You're can I get this camera here? Let me just address this. Undertale fans, Stardew Valley fans, you're scum. You're scum. I'm taking you down. The raw eggs, you're going to be eating them all. Rotten egg, rotten egg, rotten egg, rotten egg. You've earned it. Because listen, I've seen what you post. I've seen your opinions. I've seen your fan art. It's sick. It's disgusting. Yeah. You should be ashamed of yourself. Your games.
Yeah. I want you to know that
shame.
3/4 of this pod is fine with you.
Yeah.
Fans. You're fine. I will say,
It's sick.
I think that
Go ahead. No.
The point where you are becoming a fan who is behaving toxically, is that if you start to act like the good elements of your game, the things you enjoy about your game, you're getting off from the idea that they make your game good, and you start to talk as though they make every other game bad. Like,
it's a good way of putting it.
Is that like Undertale is such a great game, but the toxic behavior you'll often see is how people talk about how much better it is than every other game ever made, and how it surpasses it's the most important game ever made. It's this artful expression, and all other games are slop and terrible. We're getting paper airplanes thrown at us.
I think she's an Undertale fan.
I don't even know if you made it on camera. I'm sorry.
That was a terrible, terrible.
No, but
it's sticky.
Yeah,
that's the thing is,
that's
like, I think that's where it becomes like, if I'm sitting around talking about how great Mario Odyssey is, that's fine. I'm expressing myself. But if I start talking about how now all other platformers are pointless and stupid because why would you ever make one if Mario Odyssey exists?
It's also what I had in mind, because I thought a little bit about like Undertale and stuff. It's a little more modern examples. The thing that actually came to my mind was that like fandoms can like dive in and out of this. Like there could be pockets of it, right? But there was this time around the release of like Crisis Core, where Final Fantasy VII fans, specifically like Sephiroth's fan base, was so annoying. In every like forum you would go on, in like a lot of spaces, like they did not understand the character Sephiroth.
Right.
They were like, he's a cool anime sword guy who kills everybody, right? Who's like super great fighter.
They
and
were
can
into
never be
the Dissidia,
and it's like
Sephiroth.
You know the part where he has like a mental breakdown because of his mom. Yeah. Like, he is a complicated, fantastically well-written character. Yeah. And they're like, no, you don't understand. He is
ruin it for you.
A D-tier anime sword fighter, right? And it's like, they do that a lot. So like Undertale was one where like there were all these people like going nuts about like Sans. There were so many people going nuts about Sans, and they would tell you about it, and they would just say Sans Undertale, and they would like dab or something. Yeah. And it was a lot of nonsense. And they did kind of the same thing of like, oh, he's so like crazy strong, he's the toughest boss fight, blah blah. And you go and you actually watch the context for it, and it's actually like really well written. Like the fight around is really well written and complicated, and it's not about him being powerful or cool or any of that stuff. It's pretty tragic.
It's about his music.
Yeah, it's about
my thing is that I don't really care if a fandom is not nice when they go in and they're like, these games are terrible because my game is good. I'm not bothered by those people. I'm more bothered by the extreme.
I wonder why.
I'm bothered by the extreme cringe that I experience from these podcasts.
Podcasters, your fellow hosts. Call us out. Just call us out.
Yeah, the ones we're making right now.
But you
ones who show up wearing pink.
These podcasts, I mean, they show up in these pastels, and I just think it looks terrible.
They can't decide on a beard style. And they talk crap about video games.
They change it up every week. They're on a video game podcast.
Yeah,
I don't even like
those
video
people
games.
are terrible. Yeah.
Disappear for weeks at a time.
Yeah. But when you look at Undertale fan art, that should just tell you everything you need to know. You know about. Some fandoms will literally just flood every single space with garbage. And some games, I don't know what it is, but some games just attract a certain very cringy part of the population that produce garbage.
I'm not that into... I'm not as into online culture because I'm a grown-up.
That's fair.
But the...
you got that backwards. But
right.
Yeah.
The thing about... So I'm not familiar with like the Undertale or Stardew fandoms.
I'm not.
Every fandom is horrible and has
correct
and is just awful. No, but they're obviously like different levels of toxic. There are toxic fans in every fandom, and they will ruin it for you if you allow them to.
Yeah.
Some have more.
That's anything in life. Though, like
the only one,
toxic people at the grocery store, but like you're still gonna go get your groceries. Like
yes, and the funny thing is the the ones that I've most encountered are the ones that I'm a huge fan of the game and even of the community, but there's just a lot of bad actors. I feel like is the Souls community, the Souls-like games.
You're talking about games like
Dark Souls, Elden Ring.
Souls.
There are great people in these communities who go out of their way to like help people learn. And then there's a lot of people who are like, hey, I'm struggling with this boss, and they're just like, get good or go home.
Yeah.
You want a handout?
Yeah,
what a
right.
baby.
So, but does that make the game worse? Because I think
No.
because the question is sort of oriented around that sort of comparison.
Yeah,
of like,
that's true.
Does the fandom
to me,
affect
it doesn't affect the game at all because I'm a huge Dark Souls fan, I'm a huge Elden Ring fan,
right?
And I'm a fan of a lot of games. But also, I feel like that might just be a me thing because I don't engage with the community that much.
I think part of what
I just go, oh, those guys are horrible. Well,
Goodbye.
Good thing I don't talk to them.
Yeah, right.
Oh, those guys are great. Too bad I don't talk to them.
Yeah, right. Right.
Something you
Checked
said,
out.
Devin, about the negative space identity, right?
She was glaring at me.
Lord.
Oh my God, she's still going to kill
the
me.
evil eye. You should talk to my rabbi.
Oh my God.
A lot of things. It's a negative identity where it's like it's not so much that they like this; it's how much they dislike everything else.
Yeah.
Because of this.
Sure, yeah.
And another thing about it is there's a lot of when I think of like a negative fandom, I think of like a fandom that is like obnoxious in their proselytizing for their game.
Interesting.
Where you don't want to you might really like a collectible or something from a video game. You're like, oh, I would like a little figurine or some gear with the logo of the game on it. But then you're like, oh, I shouldn't because someone will think I'm one of those people, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to aggressively tell them this. Yeah, is that there was and like I said, they can go through phases of this or not. Some are stuck in it forever.
Yeah.
I really love a lot of the
I'm curious. This is your topic. What made you think? Which game were you thinking of when you were like a great game, but then the
fandom is just terrible.
So Undertale was the one that came to my mind immediately.
I think it does for everyone at this point.
I legitimately know almost nothing.
Really,
about the
Undertale. It's almost like.
It's so famous that I've not played Undertale or interacted with its fans. I just know that it has the reputation for having toxic fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and not just toxic as in mean to others, because that's an element.
Yeah.
But you say overwhelming a space, right?
Yeah.
And Undertale fans are very much known for that, where you can be in any, back in the day, when I was more on the internet, if you got Tumblr on one page and 4chan on the other, both of them you cannot go for a single minute without hearing about Undertale. And it was you could be in any space.
The first time I ever heard of Undertale, as in I did not know anything about Undertale, was when there was a discussion I was reading online about wanting Mother 3 for the West.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a comment just said that Undertale has invalidated the Mother series because it surpassed it. So they were basically saying the Mother series is pointless because of Undertale.
Ew.
And I was literally like, I don't know what that is. And I Googled it and I was like, oh, okay, it's like an Earthbound-esque game. It looks like Earthbound. So that's how ubiquitous with being kind of toxic the fandom is that literally the way I learned about Undertale was a fan doing what I'm describing, is they were saying Earthbound is now less of a game because Undertale exists.
Yeah, which I just want to be clear to anyone out there who's played Undertale and thinks that, please play Mother 3 because you're simply wrong. It's just
it's a treasure.
In Nintendo Life, Xeon over at Nintendo Life made this beautiful video about the Mother series called The Mother We All Share.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful video and he did a good job with it. He interviews Toby Fox in it, except it's like Microsoft Sam voice and the dog, but it is Toby Fox. He said, and near the end of the video, Toby says, if Mother 3 ever comes to the West, people will all realize how unoriginal I am.
Yeah.
So, like, even the creator
and I
of
should
Undertale,
be clear that the criticisms of the Undertale fandom
have nothing to do with
have
Fox.
nothing to do with Toby Fox, because I think very much he's obviously very reverent of all the things that he clearly plagiarized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to say,
Very
I
obvious.
want to say that I'm not critical of what I would hope is at least the majority of Undertale fans. A lot of this toxicity, and I want to stress really heavily, because more people on the internet should talk about this. I'm talking about people who engage in toxic behavior. I refuse to just label a stranger as a toxic person when I know they had a bad day and said something they regretted next week. I don't get to know the regret. I just get to see the comment. Yeah. So I think we should all be better about mentioning the fact that this is a toxic behavior a person engages in, not like a whole person.
Yeah.
So like a fandom can shift. The fans can be kind of in a bad habit of being toxic and then hopefully get better.
I've never regretted an internet comment I've ever made. To be clear,
have you regretted anything?
Not many
Are
things.
you capable?
Not
Do
many
you have the
things.
part of your brain that allows you to feel regret?
I'm afraid that the brain worm ate
took that out.
and
They
it
took that
died.
So one of the
it
things is,
regretted
like,
its choice to eat that.
I'll say that gatekeeping is. We'll talk about.
But
a little more
again,
general.
I think that we should go around and just say, because directly, does a bad fandom negatively impact the games that it's associated with?
I'll give you a good example is that the fandom around Final Fantasy 14 really positive.
Yeah.
They went through
Heard
this big stretch where they were doing the annoying levels of over proselytizing.
I also am aware
and
of that.
it's obnoxious, like if like a lot of it was they were just excited about the game, you can play it with your friends and stuff, and they wanted to get friend groups into it. That's great.
Yeah.
Get your friends into the games you're playing. But then it kind of became a little more than that, and it was like you would tell somebody, "Hey, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14. It's really fun. You should play it with." And they're like, "Okay, I've heard that from like 15 other people.
Yeah,
they were all super annoying about it, and I don't want to play
every
it."
gaming subreddit you would see in the comments. Final Fantasy 14 lets you play free up to level 60.
It became a meme in the community,
and
it got like filtered out eventually.
Sure.
Yeah.
But there was a time when it was like, I was like, no, I really didn't want to. When someone would have someone who wanted to play games or something, or was looking for a game to get in, I'd be a little hesitant to recommend 14 because I know that they probably they like been online a lot and they've probably been bombarded by it.
I mean, and the question also, I think, that's relevant to the 14 thing is like, how much does negativity play in? Because like Final Fantasy 14. They were kind of obnoxious with the amount of proselytizing, but the thing about the fandom is it's known for being very non-negative,
positively charged.
It's very positive, a lot of very positive energy. It's just obnoxiously positive sometimes. Is that better than like negative, like your game sucks?
I would say it is better because at least you're not you might be overwhelming people, but you're not bringing them down. Like
that one had a clear solution though. Is that like inside the community, everyone was like, "Hey, chill."
But did the annoying fandom make the game worse for you? Because you played it for years.
No,
was it
just made
dragged down?
It did. It just made the experience of being a fan worse. So it's like I still like playing the original Sonic games, but I will never own a piece of like Sonic merch because immediately people are going to be like, "That's horrifying" if they see it, right? I'm
seeing if any of your Sonic merch is like.
If you have, I feel like you have to have a Devon. You have to have a Devon level of collection to get away with it.
You have to hide the Sonic merch amongst all your like Mario.
Mario's like a neutralizing catalyst. That if you've got a bunch of Sonic merch and a bunch of Mario, they're like, "Oh, he's just into games."
If you're wearing like a Sonic and Mario at the Olympics shirt, you're fine. But if you wear a Sonic 06 shirt,
it's like if you have a bunch of like Gundam figures and some Evangelion merch in there, it's fine. But if you only have Evangelion merch, you're a pervert.
So Ty, what about you?
I actually.
Well, what about you?
Are you a pervert?
I don't have any Evangelion merch.
No, fair.
It doesn't affect me. But I so rarely engage with the fandom.
Same.
I'll say I'm like, "Oh, I'm a fan of something," and people go, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
I will say I have the issue of I'm really into Mario games and Nintendo games.
Really?
I know.
Okay,
I'm shocking
buddy.
everybody. No. But what I'll say is that most of the time, my level of like interest in them,
Yeah.
people are kind of like off put by because they're like, that's a baby game. Like, how are you?
Yeah.
How are you
I
then?
find
What
it
do you-
off-putting.
What do you? Yeah,
personally,
most
Yeah.
people that bully me
I
are
would say-
sitting next to
I
me.
was say I find it very
Yeah.
off-putting.
Why
that
was
you're
your
into
wedding
games.
Mario theme?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, how come you made
When I start
Rachel dress up
discussing-
like Mario for the wedding? It was
Yeah.
weird.
It's pretty
when
odd.
I start like
Sick.
describing the nitty gritty details of like
Yeah.
Mario Kart tech,
He knows how many
I can
tries
see
the
people.
model
I
has.
can see people looking at me kind of funny. So
Right.
that is part of it. But I will say that like, I think Mario has one of the best fan communities because when you think about how gigantic it is, like another gigantic fan community is Star Wars. And I'm not gonna. I don't want to.
Yeah, we
That's
I don't want to
the
make even
best
more
fan
fandoms.
community.
Yeah.
What are you talking
But they
maybe
have,
not
they
open
have a
that can of
reputation.
worms.
Mario might
Yeah.
be bigger, but like I don't think I've ever met
It's
like a really
almost the-
negative Mario fan.
It's not even always that it's negative. I think the way that I worded the question was about communities that kind of fandoms that kind of suck.
yeah.
But it almost there were some that are kind of like the Disney adult community.
Oh yeah, that's upsetting too.
where you're just like,
Yeah.
I love Disney.
Why do you gotta look at me when he
movies.
says that?
I here's the funniest thing. Like, I looked at you to be funny, but I don't really think that that's necessarily Mario because we all know which one it is.
Well, and I will say,
We
Devin
all
has the
know
problem
which
of being a
community-
Mario adult and a Disney adult.
Well, yes.
and
Yeah.
being doubly
No, but we
embarrassing.
know what the equivalent to being a Disney
for it,
adult
but-
is in gaming space,
Well, I
and
am
it's not
fine.
necessarily Mario.
Here's the thing, though.
because we know the one, right?
Fortnite.
No,
What is it, Camryn? What do you think the equivalent is?
she's gonna know.
Sorry, repeat.
What's the Disney equivalent?
What, you know the Disney adults?
Disney adults. What is the video game?
What's the
equivalent
video
of that?
game equivalent? Like to me, it's very obvious, but maybe I'm way out on limb.
Is it Sonic?
Oh, okay.
Just think about
She's
don't think about the
contacting the
medium.
president.
Think about the people you associate it with, and you'll clearly see that
Oh.
there's
Pokemon.
There, yeah,
Yeah, Pokemon.
I got
Yeah.
it.
As soon as you said the people, I was like,
oh,
But that's the
They
thing
never
is
quite
that,
grew up.
Like,
Yeah.
I like Disney movies. I think
I like
the
Pokemon.
old school
You know,
Disney
I-
movies are
I can't
great.
really say
Yeah,
that.
you know,
Well,
like,
that's
some of the best animated movies.
If someone said I'm a Disney adult,
Cool.
I have not seen like the newest,
Yeah,
the latest three
Sure.
like, Disney animated.
No.
ones.
They're the ones who
can
like.
Can I get the
No.
phrasing of the question one more time, just real quick?
It's on the floor
It's-
now as a
can
paper
you grab that
airplane.
made it a
paper
paper
airplane
airplane
and
threw
read
it
the
at us.
phrasing
I
exactly?
think it was like great games with bad fan bases. How do you deal with it?
No, does it
Great
affect the
game
game?
slash.
Great game / annoying fans. What do you do?
Yeah. What do you do? What do you
All
do?
right.
You hunt them.
I think
Quinn was right
Well, the thing
initially.
I was saying, like, part of what I was saying is that kind of thing where it's like when people get barraged by Disney adults,
Yeah.
you don't want to look like a Disney adult, even if you might like old school Disney movies.
Yeah.
So you don't want to say like if someone asks you like, "Oh, what's your favorite animated movie?" And you might be like, "Oh, well, animated. I really think like The Lion King is great,
Well,
right?"
yeah.
You might be like, "Oh, but do I want to look like a Disney adult?"
And also,
right?
I
It's
will
always a
say
little awkward.
there's a little nuance here because I think that a Disney adult, whenever I hear that, I don't think of someone who's like, yeah, I like this movie from my childhood. I think
Yeah.
of the 37-year-old woman, right?
I feel
who
called
is like
out.
I bought all the merch for Moana 2,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I bought
You
the
know?
Wish stickers.
I bought
they
the
got
stickers
married
for
at
Wish.
Disneyland.
I got married at
Yeah,
Disney.
right.
You know that I think of those people, and I honestly, I hope to God they get therapy and
Yeah.
and,
That's
and
the nice
they
thing you ever
they
said.
leave the horrid Arrested Development they're in. But I'm gonna just say
a lot
that
nicer than I thought
the-
you were going to be.
the
I know.
I know. I chose to be humane
Yeah, that
for
was
like
tame.
1
He's
second,
so
and now
good
I'm going
now.
to end that because I'm going to say that your question didn't go far enough.
He did the
he's
thing!
back.
He
I'm gonna
said
say
the
it didn't go far
thing.
enough. Because you say because
Flash
you-
on screen.
yeah.
He said the thing.
Some horns.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it didn't go far enough because you say a great game that and bad fandom. What do you do?
Annoying fans.
I'm going to say gaming. Okay, gaming, the fandom for all gaming.
I was going to bring up the fact
Gamers.
that I'm not as tapped into the internet as Harrison. And one time I was like,
Yeah.
as a gamer, and kept going. And Harrison goes, ew, don't use that term to describe
Cringed.
yourself. And I was like,
Yeah.
what do you call someone who's into video games? A video game enthusiast?
An idiot. This is what you call him. You call him an
You
idiot.
just
Well,
call
here's
him a
the
gamer.
thing.
Welcome to the idiot bunch.
This is
Quentin.
the idiot
You
podcast.
call them a gamer, and you call Harrison an idiot.
This is the Idiot Brothers podcast. Here's the thing. gamers are they're sick, they're twisted, they're degenerate. Okay,
Like all fandoms.
They ultimately are.
I'm glad I got in my line about it's just behaviors.
They're
so that when this
ultimately-
game,
They're ultimately, as I've said this many times. The
Right.
perfect way to describe gamers is mentally disordered. Okay, they're mentally disordered,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
but here's the thing. You know me. I talk
Yep.
about these old games and I talk about how great they were.
Yeah.
So I've played video games.
You're a
and
gamer.
I've played more modern video games than you all apparently. somehow.
You're a gamer.
you're a gamer, the most mentally disordered
The most
on the
mentally
podcast.
disordered among us.
Yeah.
Also
I've
correct.
played-
Yeah.
Also
Among
correct.
Us.
But this is the thing. So even though there's all these old video games and eras that I really love,
Right.
Yeah.
gamers are horrible. I would rather talk to movie fans, football fans.
Ooh.
I'd rather talk to music buffs. I would rather talk to just about any of them
Mhm.
than I would to
Is this
talk
your way of
to-
telling us
That's
you don't
strange.
want to be on this podcast?
yeah, I know.
You
I've been
really would
saying this
rather
for
be.
Since last episode.
I've been saying this for years. Is that
We're not changing to a football podcast.
No.
this
I
should be a
refuse.
football
never gonna
podcast.
happen,
We
We
okay?
can get hunky football guys on here to talk about it.
No.
Okay.
Name
But-
one team.
I just said we
Name
would
one
get.
single
I just
team.
said we would get hunky football guys to
Yeah.
talk about it. I don't know anything about it. I just know about hunky guys.
Right.
The point is,
I would love to hear what the point is
I'll
today.
tell you the point.
Anytime.
Is that
Anytime you're ready.
what do you want to do about these games with bad fandoms?
Yeah.
That's not enough. We need to talk about what we're going to do about these video game industries with the worst fans in the world.
I got
What are
to
we gonna
tell
do
you
about
something,
them?
Quinn. I think your point didn't go far
Oh
enough.
my God! He did
All
it.
right. It's
Let's
not
hear
just video game fans. It's fans of anything. All right. If you like anything enough
I've
to
been-
describe yourself as a fan,
That's
you
true.
are mentally handicapped.
Right? That,
You
yeah,
deserve to
I
be
understand.
rolled out in the wheelchair and shot on the
Did-
front lawn.
I'm
Right?
sorry- I'm
We
sorry.
need to box these people up and send them to Vietnam to be packed into
I'm sorry.
into build bridges out
Right.
of.
Hold
How
on.
is it that
hold
out of their
on.
bones.
How is it that I have to cut yours
Right.
and not
Hold on a
Quincy's?
second.
Because-
Didn't go far enough.
Oh my
God.
God!
Hold
he did
up.
the
In offending
thing.
people, it's all organized religions
Oh, yes.
on the planet,
Oh,
including
no.
lack of religion. Also
Really?
a problem. Has to
Yeah,
be dealt
you
with.
didn't go far enough. The human race itself deserves nothing but
It's-
extermination, and we
it's-
should be accelerating climate change
It's true.
to make it happen.
You
Yeah.
do, Quinn. You do have some. Your rants do have something in common with Doctor Doom's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I do, yeah.
I'm pretty
Have
sure.
you- are you the
You
leader
didn't
of
go far
Latveria?
enough.
I am the leader of Latveria.
That
I was
makes a
recently
lot of
elected
sense.
for life.
That makes
I'm
a
just
lot of
saying,
sense.
Camryn-
domination,
I'm gonna look.
Dominatrix.
dominatrix. It's sick.
Trick
It's,
serial.
well, tricks are for
Serial
kids.
killer.
I really
Serial
appreciate
killer. You take the other
Yeah.
word.
Oh,
Serial
right.
killer.
Killer clowns from outer space.
Oh dang.
Okay.
My favorite thing was
Yeah.
we never answered the question of what we would
We
actually
really
do.
know. We would.
We talked about all the fandoms
to
we
be
find to be
clear-
like
Yeah,
obnoxious.
right.
We're like,
no,
what do you do?
I'm defending myself. I
Oh.
literally said they need to be hunted
he
down.
did say that
Can
immediately.
I? Can I
Next
give a
question.
I'll
and I said ignore them.
I'll incap it. Yeah, basically that's what I think it is. Is like
All right.
if you just do your best to be as good and decent of a fan as
Yeah.
you can, that's all you can do. Is like
Yeah.
Yeah.
is
Good-
Just be like
I think
be
the
a decent human.
I think
being.
the ability to ignore other people is something that we don't have as much of and
Yeah.
need more of in the world.
Right.
Because I hear people all the time go like, this person said this horrible thing to me
Yeah.
on the internet, and I'm like, that's horrible, and they shouldn't have said that to you. And they're like, yeah, and then they came back the next week and they said an even worse thing, and I'm like, how you can hit it block.
Yeah, don't look at it.
Don't look at
All
him
right.
anymore.
The reason I actually brought it up in the first place was partially like the Sephiroth thing back in the day when they were all obnoxious about it, right?
Yeah.
Is that I did not think Sephiroth was a good character for years. Ran into him in Kingdom Hearts. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Played Crisis Core. I'm like, he's really good. Got bombarded by people who did not understand the character, demanding that the character is the coolest thing that ever happened
Yeah.
because he's a cool swordsman who kills everyone. And it was like, that's not a deep character. It's not a good character. And then Ty had played through 7. He's like, actually, Sephiroth is a great character. And I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I think he's bad.
Trust me.
And then I played through
He's
7 and I'm
several
like,
tiers better in
wait a
the
minute.
actual game. Yeah.
He's nothing like the fandom was.
No.
And so kind of my first thought was like it could be fandom sometimes like the annoying fans miss the point a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
And then,
Sensuous claw bag dip it.
Oh,
I think how
do we have time? For
I don't
another,
think so.
Another
That
topic?
was a very long
Hour
topic.
and 30.
Okay,
An hour and 30. Yeah, that's. I think that's about it.
But good topic, Ethan.
No time
Yeah.
for
Good
another
topic.
claw.
Sorry, it turned into a slant against the human race.
Mhm.
Should have seen that one coming
Should've
because
seen that
Quentin's
coming.
back.
I'm back.
Quentin's back.
I'm back.
But I think this is as good of a time of any to talk about some games that we haven't played. No. This is a game called Games We Haven't Played, but we have strong opinions
I'm back,
about.
ladies, and I have 2 weeks of catching up to do.
If you haven't seen this game
Okay.
before, you say a game you haven't played, you say your strong opinion, and no one in this room is allowed to ask follow-up questions. But you can go down to the comments, you can ask a follow-up question. While you're down there, if you like what you see, kind of shocked, but subscribe if you do. Quentin, you had a game locked and loaded. What's the game you haven't played?
I haven't played Metroid Prime 4.
Oh.
But I'm going to tell you something about Metroid Prime 4, and this is how strongly I feel. You see, Metroid Prime 4 is a Nintendo Switch game.
Yep.
And the Nintendo Switch came out about 7 years ago, right?
8 years ago.
8 years ago. And it's what I would describe as an incredibly antiquated console. It was antiquated when it came out, and it's antiquated now even more since it's been nearly a decade.
Right.
So they're releasing this soon-to-be hit game,
Right.
I have no doubt, on the Nintendo Switch 2. The Switch 2
It has a Switch 2 version, yeah.
has a Switch 2 version.
Yep.
And the Switch 2, we all know, is an evil Asiatic scam.
Oh,
That's
no.
how I would describe it, right? It's a sort of scam from the East, right? To take advantage
So many bleeps.
of Western fools,
game.
right? And I think we were all in agreement on that. Don't respond. But the thing is that so this scam console that no one bought,
Yeah.
right?
For you.
It's coming out for that,
Right.
and a lot of people are going to play it on that rather than the Switch because they're going to say, "I want the newest, bestest version." Okay, but I'm begging and I'm pleading to let everyone know that my strong opinion is this:
Here it comes, finally, days later.
the worst way to play Metroid Prime 4 is on a Nintendo console. Because let me tell you, if you can play it on anything else, you're saving yourself some trouble. Play it on the PSP. Play it on the PS Wii. Play it on the Wii U, right? Play it on the Wii. That's the French console that came out, right? Do you remember that?
Right.
Because if you can play it on your PC, that stands for power comp, okay? If you can play it on that, you're doing yourself a favor.
Gotcha.
It's free.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to pay for it. It's running faster. It's running better. It looks better. The resolution is better.
Yeah.
You don't have to give Nintendo any money for the slop fund, all right? It looks better. Okay?
He's really
you
floundering
can play it with a
at this point.
Nintendo Wii remote. Okay?
5 more seconds or 5 more words.
An original Wii remote.
That's a lot of work.
Now
well,
5 more words.
Oh, 5 more words. Okay. Let me think here.
That's 3.
Nintendo. What? Never. PC. Now.
There you
Beautiful.
go.
There's the
well
short.
done. Well done.
There you go.
All right. No, I've never played Stray,
Right.
but from my experience with my own cats, I'm pretty sure the game is just like 90% barfing on everything. And I'm excited to try it.
All right.
Okay,
Ethan,
we can't comment.
Ethan.
Go ahead. Oh my god.
You're excited to try barfing on everything. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
I-
Stray.
Yeah.
I have not played The Elder Scrolls 3 Oblivion.
Right.
Nope. Try again.
4, baby.
4?
4.
I really felt like 5 was the new one coming out, but I've never played 3 Oblivion. I've never played 4 Oblivion either.
Oh, okay, cool.
No one's played the
remake where Captain Picard gets murdered in a latrine.
That's right. That's correct. That does happen at the beginning of the game. You've never played? Okay, I had no idea.
I've never played.
Okay.
But my strong opinion, specifically about the remake,
Okay, here we go.
is that game is in the uncanny valley of video games.
Yeah.
You can polish it up.
Good
as much
lord.
as you want.
No.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Back in the day, when their heads were like polygons, fine. Yeah, they're like textures or like bitmap painted on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Fine. Whatever. Now, they're like lips move, but they still like look like Oblivion characters. So they come up to you, they say these unhinged things.
They say very unhinged
they say these unhinged lines where their eyes just like one's just like darting around, and now their lips are like like flopping around, right?
What is
and
this
like,
nightmare?
Yeah.
And like they're now photorealistic fur on their butt cheeks as they walk away, as the lion people like walk
really
away from you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then like a dwarf or like a dark elf will like turn to you, and then, like her skin is like loosely hanging off of her face, and like now everyone just, it's a Sonic Adventure game because everybody looks wet.
They look wet. Yeah.
And I look at it, and I was when I first saw the video of it, I said that's like a Blender thing a dude rendered up to look like Oblivion, right?
Okay.
Because I thought the game was supposed to come out next year for some reason. It's just memory hold in the back of my brain.
What's your strong opinion?
My strong opinion is it's the uncanny valley of non-realism. Like uncanny valley is supposed to be you got so close to realism. This one is you got so close to, you got in between old game and new game, and you went like third thing, which is like everyone is an Innsmouth there, and they're all just fish people, regardless of what they look like.
Yeah.
Uncanny Valley. Don't like what I don't like the lips.
Right.
They're licking their lips
You
a
did
lot.
a good impression there that we.
It's horrifying.
I would just like to say real quick, I just remembered something because my neurons connected. I just remembered that I chose Metroid Prime 4 like 7 weeks ago as a game that I had not played, and all I said was that it was going to be better on emulation and not on this.
Yeah. Now, when another neuron connects, you're going to realize that like most of yours have been repeats.
Yeah, I think they mostly have been repeats.
You said Final Fantasy VII Remake like 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah.
No. I specifically said remake and then rebirth, and then I said the exact same thing about both.
I don't think
that's different.
I think
I think that's what I did.
About the third time you brought
Here's the thing.
that was a repeat.
I'm going to cap it
for
off
sure.
here. I have never played Mother 3.
You said that already.
I've never played Mother 3.
Okay.
But I think that its existence makes Undertale pointless. How about that?
I can't comment on what Devin
that?
said, but I can say
How about
somebody
that?
in this room is real correct.
You want to be look, I can be toxic too.
Okay.
Wow.
But here, I'm
thought?
sorry, internet. Toxicity over.
Oh.
There you go.
All
That's
is
how you do
forgiven,
it.
I guess.
I'm going to say toxicity on.
Yeah,
He's totally right.
Wait till he gets his certified hater badge.
Yeah, that's
oh,
right.
yeah.
You gotta ask Lyric for that.
We got to get the certified
Guys,
hater badge.
thank you for being here. If you're still here,
Thanks for being
somehow.
here.
Yeah.
You're still here somehow. Thank you for being on the Chaotic Brothers podcast. Yeah.
Welcome me back, you scum.
Thank you, Camryn, for being our
Cameron,
producer tonight.
thanks
Cameron
for
for being our
big thanks to
producer.
Cameron.
Producer
Thanks for being
Camryn.
here. Thanks for covering up the black lines around your eyes and stuff and the way you normally look.
I didn't want to scare people too bad.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Appreciate that.
Guys, if you're still here, say welcome back to Quentin.
Thank
say
you.
welcome
Yes,
back.
welcome me back.
Yeah.
I have
Little party
only
hoppers.
I have only love for the gamers in the audience.
Yes,
I love you all.
Yeah,
and please do a rating on my fit today.
yeah. Let us know.
Let us know what you thought of the
Yeah.
pastels.
Yeah,
Do a rating on all of our fits
all
today.
of our fits.
Yeah, give us
I'd like to see how I compare.
They didn't see it because it was in Toilet Talk, but
Right.
Well, they saw our fit.
I mean,
so,
they see my fit. They see that I mostly blend in with the wall.
All right, guys. See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
So
Goodbye.